Now we want to add this print records variable to our records by saying print records plus equal to a string, and the string is our records. And because we want to print these records one by one, we also say plus a new line. So basically what we're doing here is we are sending our cursor to go fetch information in the database and put that info in a variable called records. And then we are adding that information to another variable called print records, and then we are printing it on the screen one after another. Now, where exactly are we going to print these records? We can do this using a label widget and put it in the grid system. Let's call this label a print label is equal to a label widget, and in the root, and the text should be equal to the print records. Text equal to this print records. And then we put it in the grid system by saying print label.grid, and we want this to be just below the show records button. This one right here. So we can use row number 5, and the column number 1. Now we run it and see what happens. Let's put a record in the database. Let's say Emmy is her name, and her student ID is this one, and she got 95. And when we click submit, it's been submitted into the database. There is no error, so which means it works. Now we want to show her records, so we click show records, and it's not showing. Oops, we made a mistake. There is an error here. Let's see. Oh, this one right here. Let's go fix it. Yeah, right there. It's supposed to say students. Let's run it again. This time it should work. Show records. Oops, nothing's still not working. What's wrong? Object has no attribute fetch. Okay, this is supposed to be fetch all. Yeah, not fetch. I'm sorry. Fetch all, not fetch. Yeah. Run it again. Let's see this time. Show records. Print records. This is not what we want. We want to see the record of Emmy. There is another error. We did something wrong. Let's see what's wrong. It's this one right here. This print records is a variable, so we do not have to put it inside these quotes. It's a variable, so we can just say text is equal to print records directly. This should do it. Now if we run it again, show records, and there we have a record, but it's showing 4 times. There's something wrong. We need to delete some records here. Before we solve this issue, let's just write the other functions first. For this delete button, let's say command is equal to delete, and this delete function, we are going to put it just below the show records function. And just like before, we do this by first writing a comment which say create the delete function, and then we can define the button below. We can define the function below, I mean. And inside this function, we need to do the same thing we did before. Just make a connection to this database. So we copy this and put it there. And also copy that and put it down there. And in between here, we are going to send our cursor into the database to execute a mission. We say cursor.execute, and the mission we want it to execute is put inside these single quotes. And the mission is to delete from the table, and our table is called students. Delete where the student ID we want to delete everywhere where the student ID is equal to the student ID that we are going to put in the student ID entry. So we do this by using this weird syntax. Say equals, and then after that single quote you'll say plus delete entry dot get. And after clicking the delete button, we want everything that we entered in the delete entry, which is the student ID. We want to also delete that and leave the entry field empty. So we do that by saying delete entry.delete everything 0, end. Let's run it and see if there is no error. Oh, oops, there is an error actually. That command. What's wrong? Let's line 86. Let's go down here. Oh, we put this command in the wrong place. It's supposed to be at the button. So let's cut it and let's put it at the button here. Yeah, it's supposed to be here. Yeah. Let's run it again. Yeah, this time it works. There is no error. But no, actually we don't need this delete ID. We can just remove it. We can just use this update OID. We can use the same update OID to update a record and to also delete a record. So let's change it. Let's delete this delete entry. It's this one right here. So we are going to change its rows and columns to the OID. So if I remember, it's in row number 8 and column 0, and its entries in row number 8, column 1. And then we can just come back here and remove this. Everything here, remove it. Now if we run it again and we say, yeah, over there, update OID is over there. So we can use the same OID to delete a record and to update a record. Now we can, over here in the delete function, we can just say OID entry.delete everything. And then here we can, instead of saying student ID, we can just say delete from students where OID is equal to plus OID entry.get.